Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 460 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm your host, as always. I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Dude, Extra Life was crazy
Mm-hmm.
yesterday.
Yeah.
For those of you listening in, Tyler and I are fresh off of our 24 hours of gaming in regards to Extra Life. And, well, let's just say that it was pretty successful, not just for the two of us, but also for our team in general. Like our team, the Talking Ship, we
Mm-hmm.
raised over our $10,000 goal. So that is fantastic. I know for a fact you've at least had like what over 500 some odd dollars that you had raised.
610.
610. Okay. And I had about 235, which honestly, I'm very happy with that. I understand that
Yeah.
money's tight for people and stuff, but still, getting money to help sick kids, earning that money and stuff like that, it feels good. It definitely does feel good.
Yeah.
And it especially does feel good too. It's like, it's Tyler, I know you've said this and you put this like quite elegantly, it's like your favorite day and your least favorite day rolled into one.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the favorite day is you're helping out kids, but the least favorite is we have to endure a slog, which is like a gauntlet of 24 hours playing video games and enduring the after effects after that consequence.
Yeah.
Since pretty
Yeah.
much you and I are both like inside of recovery mode. I personally have not touched a single game at all today.
Yeah. Understandable.
Even though one of my
Understandable.
friends messages me, it's like, "Hey, you have to play Destiny 2," and I go for this issue to him a quick response like, "Dude, I am burnt out from yesterday."
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I think I played. What was it? Oh, I played. There's this one game I played. I'll talk about a little bit later,
Okay.
but I finished that up today. It's a very
Oh,
short
cool.
game, but yeah. Um, yeah, I'm right there with you though, Gables. It was a today's a rough day. I mean, we're talking about it, so we can discuss it, but yeah, it was. I try to do I want to do the kind of like what Gables does, where he gets up at midnight, but I'm 2 hours ahead of him, so I'm like, I'll get up about I figure I'd get up like my plan was like, all right, he starts at 2 o'clock my time, midnight his time. I'm like, if I can get up about 3 o'clock, go to bed, went to bed about 9, and I was like, if I just wake up about 3, that's solid 6, and then we can get done a little bit around close to the same time. I woke up, I went to bed about 9, woke up at 12:30, wide awake. Lay there for about an hour, couldn't fall asleep, and was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna start. I started at 1:30, and um, I'll say this: you had the right idea, Gables, because it's a lot easier. I mean, it's still don't get me wrong, it's still difficult. The 24 hours,
Mm-hmm.
like I was definitely, I'd say the last like 6 hours were really tough.
Yep.
But it's tough for me really anymore to stay up past like 9, 10 o'clock most days, anyways. Um, like even on like Friday nights, I'm like 9:30 rolls around, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to bed. It's very rare for me to like actually stay up and do anything on a Friday. So yeah, it was I was struggling. That was that last little bit. You heard me. Um, just forming words. Even today is like I woke up, I drank a little bit. I'm like coffeeed out at this point too, and it's just like it's the coffee. It's gone past the point of like it's helping to like now I'm just like really like I'm just kind of like feel sick from drinking all this coffee, and um yeah, so like yeah today I don't know we can let's just talk about we can kind of talk about today before we really get into the day itself, but
Okay.
I think I slept for like we had the daylight savings time, which is nice. If it is the perfect day to do daylight savings time, I think because we get we get an hour extra hour to recover, which we need. But I really
Yeah, we
like
did.
the whole doing it overnight because like the hardest part to me is always I mean the hardest part obviously is the last chunk of it, but it's like it's a lot easier when the last chunk is in like the evening and like you're done by at least for me about 2 o'clock 1:30, um, then like 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and
Oh yeah, no
you gotta do
shit.
the overnight, and then it's like it's dark outside, and then you're going to trying to go to sleep when the sun's out because like that would always screw me up trying to sleep when the sun's out, and I'd always get junk sleep. Not to say I slept. I think I only slept for like 4.5 hours, and I had stuff I had to do today. I tried cleaning, and I started cleaning, but then I would like I'm gonna do some laundry. I did a little. I'm like, no, I'm done. Did like a load. I have like 3 loads to do. I'm like, nah, never mind. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna dust. I dusted like one thing. I'm like, no. So like you get like a burst of like energy. I'm like, I'm gonna do this, and you do it, and you're like,
Yep.
yeah, I'm good. So I've been it's been a rough day of just like no energy. Trying to watch a little bit of football. Um, but I had a thing to go. I had a lunch thing to go to with Justin, who we used to host with, and his brother. So we had a little lunch. That was nice. Um, and then I got home, watched the Packers game. Don't need to talk about that. And then
Understandable.
now I'm here. Uh, so I haven't really had a chance to get back to sleep. Uh, I couldn't fall back to sleep this morning. I was like for some reason, like when I'm like a football, like on NFL football, like for me, like solid nap stuff content, solid nap content. It's best because like I love watch football. Don't get me wrong, but it's like you're on that couch and you just get comfortable, and it's like it just needs solid 5 minutes of being really comfortable. You're out.
Yep.
Um, yeah, so I'm struggling right now. I tried taking like, it was like we were hopping on here about 9 o'clock my time, and it was like 8:15. I'm like, I'm gonna set my alarm, take a like a cat nap. No, no, didn't work at all. So, yeah, like it's been coming in waves where I'm like, oh, I'm fine, I'm doing okay, and then like you just like poof, crash, little burst of energy, crash. That's been me all day. What about how's your day going, Gables?
All right. So, like with you, I did start around like 12 o'clock my time, Pacific Standard Time, and well, let's just say after the events of Extra Life and stuff like that, I freaking went through and I had another, I think it was like another hour or so, another 45 minutes to an hour, and so I spent the last portion of my time and stuff like finishing up. Then once I did that and stuff like that, I freaking turned on my TV, I turned off the lights and stuff like that, and went to bed, set my clock. I tried to sleep until 8 a.m., but I went to bed like close to like around 12:30 or 12:40 or whatsoever, and I woke up about 6 o'clock because my
Yeah.
damn dog started
Oh.
going off and whining
Yeah.
because he's at that moment in time where it's like, hey, I've been in this box long enough.
Yeah.
It just
That was
starts.
that. Yeah. Sorry, that was my birds this morning. They were not happy when they were chirping. I could hear them when the sun was up. It's like, and plus you had the extra hour of being in there, so they're like, yeah, we're ready to wake up now. So like that didn't help either. Trying to go back to sleep and they're chirping at me.
But other than that, though, it's like from parts of yesterday when I had to go out and like go to the store, get some food or get some coffee or whatsoever. Even like for parts of today, I felt like this weird sort of solidarity, so like weird solemn feeling or something like that, where it felt like my mind was processing things like at a snail's pace, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, it felt like I was being more cognitive and was thinking more philosophically on shit, and so I felt like I was in a Zen type of place,
Yeah.
which was the weirdest feeling I think I've endured over the past couple of weeks. Because honestly, I'm in like a constant rush to do things because I'm that's part of my nature, really. I like to rush into things recklessly sometimes, and like I just don't think things through
That's why Gables
sometimes.
has 3 divorces.
No, no. Uh, I'm not married. Anyway,
Well, not now, but
no, not
you were.
now. But I'm not in. Well, anyway, like I was saying, did sort of the same thing like you and stuff. I sort of watched football, watched the Niners game. Yeah, I'm
Don't
not
want to
going to
talk
say any
about
more
it.
about the Niners game, but at the same point, at the same point, man, it's like I turned on like my Xbox or something this morning, tried to watch some things like some YouTube and stuff like that, but had to do some errands. But it was more or less me like turning on my PS5 and trying to watch some stuff on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
But then dealing with the fucking dog as the dog jumping up and down. I was like, hey, play with me. All of them
Yeah.
just start biting my hands or biting my feet. Oh, it was really bad this morning where it's like, here I am, I'm fully dressed. I go forth to take the dog out to do his business and stuff. And I go back in, I start laying on my bed, take off my shoes, and then my dog hops in the bed with me. It's like, hey, hey,
Hi.
get up. Come
Hi.
on.
Come on. What are you doing?
Hey. And what does he do? It's like I put the blanket over me, right? I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'm just gonna chill like this and stuff. But no, he jumps over me and starts nibbling on my hands, and all of a sudden he starts biting my toes. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Get off my toes.
Kick them.
But oh man, yeah. Today has been sort of like a blur.
Yeah.
There's been some low points, but there definitely has been some fun points too with
Yeah.
this.
Always worth it
Uh,
though. Always worth it. Yeah.
oh
But
yeah.
yeah, it's always fun. It's year 10, year for me, year 9 for you.
Mm.
Luckily we're both off tomorrow, so
Yep.
um, Yeah, and like I said, like I recommend people if you're doing extra life. This is my first time ever doing it, like getting up early. Obviously, I didn't plan to get up as that early, and I wish I could have got a few more hours of sleep because I'm running on like 7 hours of sleep the last 2 nights.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I reckon if you're able to get up early in the middle of the night, do that
Mm-hmm.
instead. Then do it like 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
But essentially,
But
the most ideal thing is like if you have a job where you get off like about 4 or 5 or something like that, you just don't even like eat maybe light or something like that. That's not going to be too bad. Then go to sleep, wake up at midnight, and then just do it that way.
yeah,
Because I'll say this, man, it's like I've been there to where I have done the extra life stuff as well as you have as well, Tyler, where it's like we start we start pretty much like maybe like 9 or even like earlier than that and stuff,
yeah,
and then we go that entire day, and then we have to go through that entire night period from either like 6 or maybe like 5 or 6 in the morning or whatever the hell, and it's like the sun's out, everything else is going forth, and you're like, oh god, man, it's like,
yeah,
it's that struggle, that 2 a.m. 3 a.m. feel or something where it's like it's dead, you were fucking exhausted, and you have people you're talking with or something like that, try to do that ringer type of crap.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. It,
it's definitely one of those things where if you are doing extra life or wanting to do extra life, midnight to midnight is the time I feel like is the most beneficial because your body's going to be instinctively wanting to go through until like midnight anyway sometimes, especially if you're more keen to working at the days.
mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a
Uh,
good. Yeah, like yeah, because it's like you're not jacking up your, completely ruining your sleep schedule. Yeah, you're gonna be exhausted, but you're not like, your body clock isn't completely off. So,
yep.
but yeah, no, I mean they raised over $10 million. I think they're getting close to 11.
Yeah.
They haven't said official yet, but I'm assuming they passed $100 million raised in total over the. I think this is the 13th year.
Yep.
Um, so that's awesome. Really happy with everybody. Um, so another really great year. I don't think it's gonna be, probably not gonna be a record. They broke the record last year, which all, I think they've broken the record every year except for one other year in the past, and then probably this year they won't. But I mean, I think the record was like is like around 13 million. So, but still doing
Yeah.
fantastic.
That's still
I
fine.
mean, it's still, yeah, over 10 million. Like definitely not complaining, but it's still awesome. But yeah, it feels. I mean, it's great. Yeah, like you said, Gables. I call it my favorite, least favorite day of the year for a reason, and just because I love playing. I love it. I look forward to it. But yeah, the after effects is it, the
Mhm.
end, and the after effects are always the hardest part. But yeah, I mean, overall though, Gables. We kind of talk about the effects, the before and afters. How was the day for you?
Okay, so Extra Life, the day of itself, I thought it was pretty damn awesome,
Mm,
personally. And not because I was just playing video games for 24 hours, man. No, it's because early on I had surpassed my goal of $100. I started the day like with $35 between a donation from you and like one of our other teammates or one of the other people that helped support us, Alyssa Murphy. Which
mm,
what I think the
that's
donations
awesome.
from anybody, yeah, and she always goes forth with us every year. She
Yeah,
donates to each one of us, and it's such an awesome boost and stuff. That
incredibly
way,
generous.
yeah, exactly. No, it's like a way where it's like even if you don't like raise a lot of money or something like that, just having that thing is like, hey, here's something right there. It's much more appreciative in terms of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But other than the donations from my mom and stuff, I had this random anonymous like $100 that was just randomly dumped. That's just randomly donated to me like late last night when I was that night before the day and stuff when I was asleep. So it felt great because it felt like I've already accomplished my goal and now I could just chill and just focus on what I want to do.
Yeah.
I did have my mom advertise it through Facebook. I did go through and have like Instagram going through and like advertising it that way a couple times. Didn't want to bother a lot of people, so I just did the download type of posts and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I spent most of my extra life playing Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'll just say this though. I was going in thinking, oh, okay, man, I'll just play a few hours of this and stuff, and I'll try to feel it and stuff like that. No, that game sucked me into the extent where the first live stream I did that for like about freaking 15 hours. It
Mm-hmm.
felt like 15 hours or something like that. But yeah, most of my extra life predominantly was playing through Guardians of the Galaxy. It definitely, I'm definitely through most of the game. I think at this point in time, I'm like on chapter 13,
Yeah, you got a
and
few hours left at
I got
most.
like a few hours left. And the fact remains is I played through most of that game in like one day.
Yeah.
It honestly, it didn't feel like I was playing it through in like an entire day. It felt like I was like playing it maybe within a few hours because of how good the quality of not just the storytelling, not just like the overall aesthetics of how it looked, but because the gameplay was pretty damn fun. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it wasn't anything original, but at the same time, I didn't care about the originality of it. I just cared about playing how good it felt playing it and combining like combos and everything with my team and stuff like that and listening to the random chatters of like my teammates. But oh my gosh, nah. But let's see. Predominantly, I spent a lot with Guardians of the Galaxy. I know that when one of our friends, talking shit buddies like Nerves and stuff, when he came on and stuff, both of us, like all three of us, eventually started playing. Like, well, actually, didn't the three of us play like
We
one of the?
played we played a game of Predator, and then he had to leave for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. It's like all
that was
three.
rough.
Yeah, here's the thing, man. It's like we played a little bit of Predator Hunting Grounds, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like all three of us did like one match. Our friend had to go through and leave and stuff like that. But I know you and I, we played a couple more matches of Predator Hunting Grounds, and we just thought together collectively, it's like, man, this kind of sucks.
Yeah, well, it was like it was just a combination because like I was telling you guys like when this game first came out, everybody hated playing the Predator because so
Yeah.
it's 4v1. You like there's four guys, you know, you're military guys, and you're trying to accomplish a mission and then escape on the chopper. And one person plays as Predator. Same people that made Friday 13th made this game. When the game first came out, nobody liked playing as Predator because it was kind of difficult to
Mm.
like learn, and like it just wasn't fun because you like if because you can actually if you all stuck together and just you can actually fairly easily kill the Predator. Um, or like I was telling you guys like man when I played this like 80% of the time you would win. You'd either kill him or you would escape. And but it's funny, like, well, I guess it's been out for like a year and a half. It's not a very big game. It's only on PC and PS4. I'm
Mm.
like, this game never really blew up at all. And I'm like, well, I mean, the people that are playing this now are probably badasses at it, and
Yep.
that was true. I mean,
Absolutely.
we played like 4 games, and every game
Yep.
we got wrecked every single time. And what was even more frustrating was the fact that like we were spending more time trying to get into a game than actually excuse me, I got the hiccups now, than actually play the game. Like I think we put
Absolutely.
like 4 or 5 matches, and the matches probably last 3 4 minutes because we were getting killed so fast. But we would probably spend 4 or 5 minutes between each game trying to get into a game. He's like,
So
oh cool,
yeah.
we're about to start a game, and then fucking we get dropped out.
So basically, we spent like maybe an hour at most, probably playing
Yeah.
Predator Hunting
Well,
Ground.
we were in the menu of Predator Hunting Ground, not playing, I guess necessarily.
Yeah, we'll just say it's maybe like 10 or 15 minutes of actual playing, and then most of it's just like waiting inside the queue in order to try to get things going with that stuff. But yeah, the game suffers kind of like from what previous type of games of its type
Mm,
do. Like I'm talking about like Friday the 13th. I'm talking about like Dead by Daylight and stuff, where it's like the game's supposed to be popular, but at the same time, you're going to go and wait for queues and stuff, and you're just waiting in the lobby for people to show up or to like games to start and this and that. And sometimes we have to exit out and then try to go back in again in terms of like restarting the searching queue and do this. But we did have some disconnections with that game, but man, the disconnections while we're trying to do co-op stuff was definitely apparent.
yeah.
Like for example, like you and I were trying to play like well, even before we started playing like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that, we tried Back for Blood.
Yep. Yep.
So we decided to keep on the PlayStation chat, and we decided to go forth on to Back for Blood and stuff, or on our Xbox One stuff, since it was on Game Pass.
Best
And
day of gaming.
I will say though, it's like at its core, its fundamental stuff. I do like the gameplay because it's pretty much exactly like Left 4 Dead,
It's like
only give or take.
I think it's actually like, but it's like because Left 4 Dead the original one was kind of janky and
Yeah.
stuff, but we still loved it anyways. And this one
Yes.
actually feels like a solid like shooter game. I feel like I'm not saying it's like Call of Duty or anything, but it's like it feels like a
Nah.
solid, well made game. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, like I was saying though, it's like it definitely does feel like solid gameplay wise and stuff. I can understand the idea behind a lot of the deck making and a lot of the different type of perks and different type of things and stuff like that. But there were a couple things that definitely need to be patched inside of this game. I mean, for one, whenever we were playing with bots and stuff online, and then randomly, like with me or something, I my character for some odd reason that I was controlling disappeared for like a
Mm-hmm.
match or two, and I had to take control of one of the bots. And I'm
Yeah. So
thinking,
then we were
why the hell
then
am I
we were
taking?
bought down. So yeah,
Yeah, we're like a bot down. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on with this? I mean, it
yeah,
maybe it was more or less likely something on my end where I pressed something wrong and something just went wrong. But at the same
I
time, it's
doubt
like
it.
a mixture of that plus losing cards and stuff if you don't finish like a run and stuff like that. That also was kind of a detriment. But the biggest one is like the difficulty factor. When I joined Tyler and stuff, and we were trying to do freaking and like a run for like Act One
Yeah.
and doing all that stuff, and the AI ends up being increasingly difficult to try to, especially with the bots and everything, just don't are not intelligent when it comes to
No.
that. It felt like the AI was just like harder with just two of us rather than like it was pretty much like kind of like what you were saying where and I think you hinted at this last night too where it's like it wasn't this difficult, it wasn't that difficult when
Yeah.
you're doing it by yourself.
Yeah. Because well, I mean, I beat this one mission. It's just like it's oddly like I beat in the first two acts, and each act has like X amount of chapters. I think Act One has like 8. I think Act Two has like 6 or something like that. And each one's 8-10 minutes, and they're all. I mean, you can run through them. When we're playing on recruit, which is the easiest setting, but the game like tells you to like beat it on recruit before and like get better cards, but build better decks and stuff like that before
Mm-hmm.
going on the harder difficulties. So I'm like, okay, yeah. And this one mission, it's like it's crazy. It's like the fourth one in, but it's incredibly hard. Like one the first once I learned what to do and I knew the mission, it's a lot easier. Like I've beaten it multiple times, but the first like two times I played it, I didn't really know what I was supposed to be doing. Like it got wrecked. And basically,
Mm.
you have to like run across this bridge, and there's just a horde of zombies coming at you the entire time. And
Yep.
then once you get on the boat, you meet up with like basically like the army shows up, and they give you these uh, uh C4 explosives or whatever, and you gotta go to the bottom of the boat, and then you gotta put 2 on there. Which when I played it before, I only had to do 1. So we ran
Yeah.
down there. We played the one. We run. I'm like, oh fuck, we gotta do this twice. So then we had to run through the horde of zombies, go back, get the other one, run all the way back down, get it again. I'm like, Gibbles, once we plan it, we gotta go. And but it was
Yep.
just like the hordes, and like they have like the stronger variants of the zombies. They have like the witch one, they have the boomer, they have the one like the big tank guy, and it's just like it was just an onslaught that would never end. And our bots were like, yeah, like the bots are actually pretty decent, but for some reason in this game, they were in our game they were just worthless. They kept dying, and we're just like we eventually were just like we can't go back for them. Like they're like 2 floors up, we're at the bottom. We just need to plant the shit and go, and then they'll come back to what we never could beat it. We failed twice and had to start all over. And we're like, we're good. But
Yeah, that was pretty
yeah,
frustrating with that end. But one of the things I noticed is like when there are certain times where sometimes you'll like fall off of something and you're just grabbing on a ledge, but you can't pull
yeah,
yourself up. You have to have one of your teammates pull you up. It was the stupidest thing that happened to where I literally was jumping from ship to like the ledge and I cut the thing. I cut the corner before exiting the ship. And I'm like on this thing, like right next to the dock, and he's just hanging on there. My
yeah,
character's hanging on there, and I'm like, I'm not even that far away from the freaking entrance thing. He could have just, put
yeah,
himself back over, instead of going into that animation and stuff. And so here I am. It's like I think you were the first time this happened. I accidentally misstepped and I fell at the bow of a ship, right? And I'm hanging at the edge of the ship. I'm seeing you like right across the map. You're trying to do your best to try to get back over before I end up dying, but at the same
yeah.
point, at that time, it was too late
Yeah, well,
because
what screwed me up though was like, because it showed you like on this is on the boat.
yep,
You said you were like on one floor, but my game was saying you're on the floor below it. So I ran down there, and you're like, oh no, I'm up here. So I'm like, but your name was hovering down on the floor below you. So I'm like, where the like you were just invisible to me.
well, here's
So
what happened during that same game. One of the bots died, right?
yeah,
And so I had to control the other bot. And so you see my name is like twice or something on those two
Oh,
perspectives, and it
yeah.
was confusing. I mean,
Maybe that's what it was then. Okay, yeah. All right.
oh boy, but
Yeah.
with that confusion and stuff, I agree with you in terms of like say the gameplay that does feel pretty solid, but at the same point, there are definitely a bunch of improvements that can be made, not only just for the leveling, the balancing of the difficulty when you have multiple players around there, because it seems like the difficulty gets spiked when you have more than one person.
Well, and that's what I mean. I don't know because like I've beaten that on solo with 3 bots, and I've beaten that with a bunch of randoms multiple times. Like
Right,
probably like three. I probably beat it like 4 times combined, and it's just like once I learned it, it's been easy. That's for like I failed twice when I
right.
first started it, and then since then I've beaten it 3 4 times. I mean, with no real
Yeah,
problem. So like once you know the strategy, it's just like all right, boom, boom, go. But
yeah, that
yeah, this time we just got fucking. It was just never ending. And
it
like
was
I said, our
weird.
bots kept dying, and like they kept reviving each other. But while they're reviving each other, the other one would die. So yeah, they were completely useless in this game.
Well, I will say though that mission you did show me the one with the jukebox, the songs
Yeah,
going through. I thought
ballroom
that was
blitz.
pretty cool too. Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
But other than that, you and I were playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and we tried playing. We played a couple matches successfully, but at the same time, we kept getting disconnected, especially when we tried to do like the Duelist Pack challenges and like
yeah.
the
That was so
whole.
frustrating. We spent like a half an hour preparing for this game, and we got like what maybe 6 7 turns in, and it booted us.
Yeah, and you understand why that people don't really like to really play that game online too often, I guess. Why you can
Yeah,
hardly find anybody in the online stuff.
it's a 6 year old game, so
Yeah, that too.
yeah,
But after that, yeah, we pretty much did like our separate things. But bring it back to the Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, that definitely was the game of extra life for me. I could not get enough of like enjoying just not just the set pieces, but the story in and of itself. I thought was fairly strong. The combat of it, between the different characters, I actually thought how I actually couldn't believe like how fluid everything was in that regards, and the different types of combinations of weapons and like combos that you can discover and stuff. I think during this one playthrough, I've gotten close to about 50% of the stuff done for the trophy stuff.
mm,
I'm pretty adamant once I do finish this game and stuff like that, I'm going to definitely probably play it another time, but I'm not going to focus on it as like, you know, go through another thing to try to aim for the platinum right now. There's a couple more games I do want to try to play on the PS5 before the year ends. So I gotta say though, it's like I've played my fair amount. I know you've went through and beat it during
yep,
Extra Life.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, how
Oh, okay.
about you with your Extra Life stuff?
So I started off played Madden like I always do. I jump in sporadically with that. I play a game here. I think I played like 5 games overall. So
Mm.
that's probably took up a good quarter of my extra life. Um, I was jumping around a little bit. Like I played some Far Cry 6. That was one of the games I talked about a couple weeks ago. Like I played through like the first few hours to kind of get through like
Yeah.
the tutorial section to start the game. And I think I put like probably like 4 hours in that one. And I was hoping that was kind of playing on like Guardians of the Galaxy. That was kind of hoping that would be that for me. Because I've talked about like Ubisoft games for me in the past have been like perfect extra life games because you can just do like side shit and then some of these games like if you don't really care about the story, you know, like it doesn't really matter. And I don't know, it just the more I play it, I'm like this is just I don't really I just don't I'm not digging this. I'm not liking this. So I kept playing it. I'm like maybe it'll click for me, maybe it'll click for me, and it hasn't really at all. And I was even just doing I was even doing like the main story stuff and like usually that part's at least pretty good, like pretty good to like really good in some of these Ubisoft map games, and yeah, it just wasn't clicking for me. So I went back to it like later. I played for like 2 hours, and I'm like, oh, 2 3 hours, and I'm like, I jumped on something else, and I went back to it again. I played for like another hour. I'm like, no, I think I'm done with this game. Like I said, I think 6 7 hours overall, probably in it. Then what else did I play? Like I said, we talked about Predator, Back for Blood,
Mm-hmm.
Yu-Gi-Oh. But then yeah, then I jumped in the Guardians, and I was on chapter. I think I was end of chapter 12, beginning of chapter 13.
Oh,
When I
okay.
started, so basically where you ended is about where I
Yeah.
started at,
Yep.
and because I've been playing it sporadically over the last couple weeks, um, and yeah, then I end up just poop socking the last few hours of that game. Uh, and I started talking to you, and
Yeah.
it was funny. You're playing it, and I'm like, I'm like as I'm finishing it. It was funny. There was one moment. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody, but like I told Gables, I was like, oh, I beat the game when the credits are rolling, and he's like, oh yeah, cool, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? He's like, what? I'm like, nothing. So Gables will know when it gets there.
Yeah.
You'll figure out what my what the fuck was about when you get there. But yeah, that game is. I mean, I raved about it last week, uh, and I was talking to Nervous about it when he was in there with us, and he's like, "What did you guys think? What did you think?" I'm like, "It's probably one of my games of the year,"
Yeah.
which is hard to say, especially this year, because it usually when I say it's a game of the year contender, it's usually like a list of like 2 or 3 games. My game of the year list right now is probably like 75 games at this point, and I've only played like 12. It's ridiculous how um, stacked. I think even though it's not been a 10 out of 10 game year, but it's been like a lot of solid like 8.5s and 9s this year,
Right.
and so it's just like there's just a big clump of really good games that all of them I want to be like my game of the year. I'm not looking forward to in about 6 weeks when I had to put that list together, which is
Yeah.
crazy to think that we're getting to the game of the year time. But
Absolutely. It just feels like the game of the year stuff for this year. I mean, I honestly feel like there's not going to be one definitive like it doesn't feel like there's going to be like one definitive game this year because it feels like even though there wasn't that one game where I'm like well, I'm just saying okay, this is my definite game of the year and stuff like that.
yeah,
It just feels like a hodgepodge of like all these other experiences that I've had throughout the year that are going to be interblended in
hmm
if that's yeah, if that's like to be believed in that regards, but I'm like I am going to have a tough time trying to decide what was the best in terms of this year.
yeah. That's yeah. Like I think this much like it hasn't been like the greatest year, but I think it's still been a really pretty solid year considering COVID and everything like that. I think like and I think a lot of us we talked about even last year about
Right.
like like I think next year like with COVID going like we were going into 2021 we were talking and I'm like man there's just we don't know a lot about 2021 and it's like so I have a feeling it's just like either stuff's gonna fill out real quick or it's just not gonna be a great year. I mean it's turned out to be better than I thought but a lot of these games that came out we didn't even really know about until they're
Right.
out. Um, but yeah, anyways, going back to Extra Life, like it's been that game was phenomenal. Yeah, but we'll go. Well, yeah, I think yeah, this year has not been the greatest year, but it's not like 2019 bad. Where like 2019 was like we have a bunch of like low eights kind of games, like
Yes.
and like I
Yes.
feel like this year we have a lot of like mid to high eights, low 90s. Like if you're
It
looking at Metacritic scores.
it definitely feels like that to where a lot of games that are probably going to be on our lists are probably how we feel like are maybe middle of the pack, more or less like a 7 to 8 sort of game
Mm,
in some regards and stuff. Maybe a few nines thrown in,
yeah,
perhaps.
there'll be no
But yeah,
when we do game of the decade or game of the generation for this in 6 7 years. Um, I don't think anything on this year will be on those lists. Is what I'm
I don't
basically
think
what I'm saying.
so.
Yeah,
I
well, I
honestly
mean,
don't think so
if it
unless
is,
we
that
find
just
that
means
one.
yeah, unless we just have a really bad decade of games, which would be scary. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I love that game. That game is really great. It's probably one of the funniest games I ever played. It's up there like South Park for a game
Yeah.
that just made me laugh out loud multiple times. I heard Gables laugh out loud probably 2 dozen times easily
Oh
at
Jesus.
just some
Yeah,
of the
there was
shit.
some good stuff there.
Yeah, and the music, the way everything flows so together is just it's like the perfect thing I heard for Guardians of the Galaxy was like its Final Fantasy VII remake battle system light, and I'm like that's actually incredible. It's not I'm like it's not even an insult. I think the way of putting it, but it's a really good like yeah it's not as complex as like a, Final Fantasy VII remake, but I think it's still really well made. And man, yeah I love that game, and I think the forefront of that game was every like the battling and the gameplay parts were second to everything else in this game. And I think it was more important to nail. I'd rather have everything. I'd rather have a top tier characters, comedy, world, all story than top tier battling in this game if I had to choose. Um,
Oof.
but yeah, finished that up. What the fuck else did I play? This is what sucks about Extra Life is like it's just a blur. Like Gables will talk to me about shit and like tell me like things that we did, and I'm like I don't remember any of that. Like especially like the last chunk. It's like I remember like what was really funny was like we were playing games, and then like Nerves' son got on there and was talking to us and was telling
Yep.
us some funny stuff. Like, I don't even know like some like he had us in tears laughing. I don't know if it was just from sleep deprivation, um, or deprivement. I don't know. I can't. Words hard. Um, but like we both of us were like crying, laughing at him. And he thought he was the funniest person in the world, and I mean, to me yesterday he was. And what was that? What was that name he said? Leo Scribub, Leo. I don't remember. He
Uh,
said he made a joke. He kept trying to make this joke, and he kept like screwing it up. And then he finally like made it, but then like he screwed it up. But like he said something really funny, and it killed us. Nerves was
Can't do
getting
with a
mad.
stick of butter.
Yeah, yeah, something to do with stick of butter. But he get mad because we were laughing at him because he was making fun of Nerves, which is funny. I love him with that one. He's like, "Oh, you guys, you fucks, this is my last Extra Life now because of you guys." He was playing Assassin's Creed a lot, and they played It Takes Two
Uh,
together. That was really funny. I enjoyed that, him jumping on, and he was telling us he's going to sell his Bionicle Legos for gajillions of dollars. So Gables and I are starting up a Bionicles coin. It's like a Bitcoin subcategory, but it's Bionicles coin. So we're starting that up. Let us know if you're interested. We're gonna start mining that soon, and then to eventually do some NFTs of Gables in the nude and his ex-wives. Um, yeah, like so I played a bunch of that. That took me through a good chunk of the day. I ended up buying this one game.
yeah.
I actually finished it up because it's like an hour. It's really short here. But
Okay.
it's Blood Shore, I think is what it's called.
Blood
So it is
Shore.
a FMV game, but so
Right.
it's this company called Whales Interactive. They make FMV games. And they usually have like one or two a year, and they made a couple games. Like one's called The Bunker, which was actually pretty decent, and there
Okay.
was another one. I cannot remember the name of it, but it was actually like a really, and they're all like an hour and a half, like a short movie, not even a full
Yes.
length movie. And then it's like not there's not like a top tier budget or the acting isn't phenomenal, but like um, but I would always play all their games, but then the last like 4 years, they'd put out like these games, but they're like murder mysteries. And instead of like you actually like watching a movie and making decisions based off of what they're doing, or like some of them you can even control the character, like it was basically turned into like a first person thing where you're sitting on a chair interviewing people. So like you weren't even like interacting. You were literally just listening to people talk, make decisions. Like there was no moving around. It's just like camera and a person. Your character doesn't even talk. It's just you literally just watch like someone's just talking to you. Um, and I was like, I just wasn't enjoying those. I fell off of them. And then this came out, and I watched a trailer for it. I'm like, this looks terrible, but I gotta play it. But I'm just excited that they're going back to like some of this stuff here. Um, and so it's basically it just came out like last week too, and it's so what it is. Oh boy, it is a battle royale FMV game. But like I said, it's a movie where you don't control the characters, but you make
Oh, that's
decisions.
right.
And like, so there's one character, Nick Romero, one of those two. That's his name. And he's like, but what's so dumb and funny about it is that like, so it's basically like 50 people get put on an island. You don't see all 50. There's not that many actors in this. They're on this island, but it's like they took like podcasters, streamers, content creators, like these names and like Z-list celebrities, child stars, and like it's a battle royale where it's real life battle royale, but it's like they stream it, and then like there's like it'll cut to people like watching it, and like people are watching on their phone. There's like the people doing the live reactions to it, like streaming. They're streaming them reacting to the stream, and like people talk. It's so dumb. I finished it up though. I enjoyed it. Like it's not great. It's really bad. It's really dumb. But I think it's like I at least hope that's what they're going for because it like
Right.
the acting is awful. The some of the story stuff does not make it. It feels like a really. It's like everything you want out of like a really bad budget horror movie is like this is what this
Mm.
is like bad effects. Like when you shoot some like they like people get killed and like they get shot and like the effects of like the shot and the blood and like the sound of the gun when they shoot is hilarious. It's just like doesn't sound. It just sounds like a wet fart, more than it sounds like a gunshot. But like I don't know, it was just really entertaining. Like I said, it's like an hour, maybe an hour 15 at most. But yeah, I don't know. I started playing it and I'm like, this is terrible. But I'm enjoying this. It's not like the other ones they made were actually like I thought like were legitimately pretty good and well made. This one was just felt like a really great like if we were doing like when like we have our group of friends, we get together and do like bad movie drinkies and we watch like a really bad low budget horror movie and we
Yeah.
make and like we just laugh hysterically at it. Um, this is like what I would pick as a bad movie drinky. And like I like if we like there was a video game drinky, this would be it. But like there's no like boobs or anything like that. So which is a good chunk of the drinking in some of those low budget horror movies. But like you could see the twist coming from a mile away. It's just it's funny. So I played that. I played a good chunk of that, and then I just finished up. Like I had like 30 minutes left. I played like half of it there, and then I played there half today, last night, or Jesus Christ, today, tonight. All the last 3 days have just merged together for me. Um, I've barely seen the sun, which I guess isn't. If you've seen me, I'm pretty pale. That's just my life in general. Yeah. Then we spent probably a good four. I'd say like the latter chunk of it, like good 4 or 5 hours, was like Back for Blood, Predator, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Hmm.
Mostly us Yu-Gi-Oh starting a game and then 5 minutes into it getting kicked out of the game. Um, then I finished up a Picross. I was just like I was gonna play another game of Madden, but I was just like, man, I like it was like you were saying earlier about like you feel like you're concentrating more harder than ever, but like you're not like nothing's like your motor skills are off or like you know what you need to do and you're trying to tell your body to do it, but it's just
Yep.
not happening at all.
I
Just
definitely felt that last hour when I finished off when I finished off the whole night with Tekken 7 and stuff where I wasn't doing anything like strenuous. I wasn't going through arcade. I wasn't going doing online matches. I was going through the practice mode, playing with the character that I like playing as Zafina.
mm,
And then afterwards I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to do some Tekken bowling. And so I pretty much stayed on that one mode and I played that bowling mode, and throughout that rest of that time and stuff, I kept noticing like I hit the pins and stuff, and I kept coming up with like all these different types of these uh, these setups or something like that when I hit the pin. So there's like a thing called like a baby split or something like that when you have the one pin like at the far back and like another pin like at the I think it's either the third or the fourth like position or whatsoever. It's
mm,
basically like a various version of like a split, and then it's like all these different pin combinations and stuff because I'm so used to doing like strikes in a specific angle, this and that. But I kept on like just missing the slightest little things as like I was
yeah.
getting more and more tired. And I think I finally got like about a 217 on side of one of it, which is the best. It's the best record that I've gotten for that character. But I played like about I kid you not like 10, 15 matches of like this ultimate bowling stuff, and I finished off that thing. I'm like, it's midnight. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was yeah, it was great though. It was fun. I had a good time. It's always good. It's always fun. We're doing it for a good cause. Paying for it today, but I do it 10 out of 10. Do it every year. Um, can't wait for next year. I'm already counting down the
Yeah.
days. Um, yeah, it's definitely like I definitely have like that. Like, it was hard for me to go like I was saying I couldn't go back fall back to sleep because it's like when you're like it reminds me of like when I was a little kid waking up in the middle of the night on Christmas morning but it'd be like 2, 3 in the morning. And it's just like I can't go back to sleep because I know here soon I'm gonna open presents. But it's like I gotta wait for my parents to wake up to open presents. It's like it's
Yep.
kind of like that in a way where it's like I know I gotta get some sleep because I gotta play games, but it's like man I just can't wait to start. So it's kind of the same thing. And then like when it's over, you have like that. It's like that realization when you're a kid after Christmas, and you've like opened the last present. It's like yeah, you got all this cool stuff and like a lot. You had some good memories. Cool stuff happened here, but it's like you're just kind of sad it's over. There's no more of it
Yeah.
at least for this year. So uh, can't wait. Like I said, it's my favorite least favorite day of the year. But yeah, it was a blast. Another year in the book, another good chunk of money raised for kids. So um, pretty awesome. But Gables, feel like we should jump into some news now. Um,
Okay.
so not a lot going on this week. Gables, kind of a slower week, but we have some like most of it's stuff calling from like financial reports. This
Yeah.
week we got some Nintendo sales numbers, um, some news about Activision Blizzard, a couple delays. I did really real quick off the top here want to mention that It Takes Two is now on Game Pass
Yeah, it
and
is.
on EA Play. And if you don't know about Game Pass, it's the best deal in gaming. They should start paying me for this, and that's like I just Game Pass is awesome. But I even like I've been like I put in like it's in the talking ship group now. It's such a joke at this point how much we talk about Game Pass. And we're not even Xbox guys. We're not Xbox at all. We were PlayStation guys a year ago, and now it's like a good chunk of like I accidentally converted a lot of people to Xbox. I think in the last like um, 6 8
You
months.
probably did, dude.
Yeah, like people knew about Game Pass and a couple people had it, but I was like, I mentioned it and like I kept talking about, it, especially when I got my Series S, and I'm like, and now it's like a bunch of people just bought Xbox Series consoles after that, or even like Xbox One S's, and yeah, it's on there. I'm trying to get, I just I'm singing the praises of that fucking game. It Takes Two, another game that's in my it's in the clump right about here
Yep.
for in my game of the year contenders. It's right there
Yep.
on my
So
list with the other
it's like
15 fucking games.
I know two games that you and I are probably going to both have in common. It's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy and probably It Takes Two, because both of them obviously are fantastic games, different reasons and stuff. But yeah, that was one of the best moments of this year when our playthrough of It Takes Two.
Yeah, I know they won't rank. I know those games won't rank above Haven for you, but um, another game I'm sure I'll have in common. But I just want to mention that real fast that yeah, It Takes Two is out there. Please play it. That game is phenomenal. I want them to keep making games for as long as they want. And then also another thing in here, Midnight Suns was delayed. It's that Marvel game that's being made by the XCOM
Yes.
people. That got delayed. It's coming out March 25th, I believe was the date. It was in March, into March. And oh no, that's Saints Row. It was like March 18th, somewhere in March. It got delayed, so now it's quarter two or the second half of 2022 now. So yeah, it's whatever. But we've talked about this where you look at the first like 3 months, or really you just look from like end of January to end of March, so like an 8 week period. It's just an onslaught of fucking games coming out. Yeah, so if you need to get a second mortgage out for those games, I recommend getting on that soon because it's gonna be crazy if you want to play all those. But stuff had to get moved. Even if I'm sure even if that game was ready, it's like we should probably move. It's like we're gonna get buried. So yeah, I feel like the buzz for that game's kind of died. I think there was a lot of hope and hype for it when they announced it, and then once they showed the gameplay, I feel like a lot of people was like, never mind. So we'll have to wait and see though. But moving on to some topics here, Gables, you put this in here,
Yes.
and I want to hear what you have to say about it. What's going on with Destiny 2 Witch Queen DLC? That's coming out early next year, right? February. Speaking of
Yes.
the crazy onslaught of games coming out in the first quarter of next
Yes.
year.
All right. So to give a little basic information at first for those that don't know what this thing is basically Destiny 2 has an expansion coming out in February of 2022 called The Witch Queen. It delves into a character by the name of Sabathun and stuff like that. It's like a whole bunch of different lore and a bunch of different crap. I can't remember it right now because I'm half asleep, half awake. But at the same time,
Doing better than me.
to give a to give a full like emphasis upon what's going on with that DLC in general, I have to bring up the three. I granted three types of like things that they're offering in terms of how you can buy this expansion. So basically, you have three different things. I'm currently looking through. Yeah, I'm just basically currently looking through on Steam right now that the different type of packages and stuff. So there's three in all. There's the original thing, like the Witch Queen, that expansion itself, which is $40. I believe it's $40 just for that base expansion. Then you have another thing that quintessentially is like the Halo, like not Halo, but the Destiny 2 like 30th anniversary, Bungie 30th anniversary package and stuff. Now each of these packages hold their own individual type of content in that retrospect, but the one that I'm currently looking at and stuff is this Destiny to, let's see, the Witch Queen. This is like a deluxe. This is like a full on like Ultimate Edition or something. It's $100, right? Which, here's the
Hmm.
thing: the $100 one,
It's more than
it
the
includes
original
all.
game.
I know it's more than the original game and a lot of the content even back then, but the thing that this package holds, it's like you have the expansion itself. You have about 4 seasons worth of like quintessentially like interchange between the 2 seasons and stuff. So what that means is every time that Destiny goes through one of its seasons, you know how like some of them are like free for other services, say like with Fortnite and for
Yeah.
like Apex Legends and stuff. No, Bungie charges you $10 to go forth and get all the content in regards to what you can earn throughout an entire season. There's like 2 tiers, right? And I've
Oh
seen
yeah,
this in
that's
other games
the battle.
too.
You talking about the battle pass? I mean, Fortnite and
Yes.
all those. Like, there's the free tier, and then there's the one you got to pay for.
Okay, yeah, yeah. For those type of things, yes. I honestly hadn't realized that for Fortnite and Apex because
Yeah,
I haven't really played
Fortnite made
those.
that big. Like all live service games do that. Even fucking Marvel does for some reason.
All right, I wasn't aware of that. I can more or less vouch for like say Dead by Daylight and like friggin' this game. It seems like more or less like a lot of the online multiplayer style games have these 2 tiers like per season and stuff, one paid content and whatnot. But you have 4 of those, which is quintessentially like $10 like a season, right?
Mm.
So they're trying to justify like the Witch Queen expansion on top of the $40 type of thing, like those season things on top of like having the Bungie 30th anniversary, which has 2 dungeons, right? That are not available inside of the actual expansion content, right? The $40 edition, where that's actually mandatory in order to get certain armor, certain other types of stuff that may be vital in terms of,
Mm.
say, different weapon builds, and stuff like that. So, quintessentially, the whole controversy in regards to this is like 2 things. One, that the whole packaging and price of these editions for like locking out specific features that you will want to go and have by if you like from the get go and stuff. Let's see, the longer you wait upon a lot of these different expansion passes, I mean, I've learned this in the past that it's like Bungie tries to get you in the first thing, with these $100 passes and this and that, these special edition stuff, because they punish their players the longer they wait to try to invest inside of this sort of this ecosystem in that regards. I've endured that a couple of times. One with Forsaken and the other for for Beyond Light. So for the Forsaken one, it's like they had their own specific types of things like seasons that leading up until now, right? But it's gotten to a point now where it feels like Bungie definitely is hiding specific features that you may want that's of a necessity inside of the higher echelon of money packs. So locking a couple of dungeons away that people are going to want to play or different types of features, different type of game modes inside of this $100 thing, that's what people are getting all up in arms about. On top of the other thing that's a controversy is taking away paid content with the Forsaken DLC. That whole expansion, that kind of content, that's being that's not sunsetted, but it's being like pretty much put into the vault and stuff, and from their own words and stuff, being like maybe remastered or reintroduced in different playlists in that regards.
Going in the Disney Vault.
Quintessentially, it's his Bungie's own version of like freaking Disney vaults, but it's rubbed a lot of the players of Destiny 2 the wrong way, and I can humbly understand why. Because you spend so much money playing Destiny 2, not only investing inside of like the game in and of itself, but trying to play through a lot of the content, and then having a lot of this paid content being taken away, or base content and stuff that you were able to enjoy, or missions that you were able to go forth and experience being taken away and stuff. Now I understand for other games, like say other MMOs or other things like that and stuff, there have been different quests or different type of things that are taken away from the past. But here's the thing though, it's like Destiny 2 is one of the only MMO style of games that I can remember that by taking away main portions of paid content that you've had, say with Beyond Light, or what you have with like other types of like things, say Scarlet Keep or whatsoever. These are fairly. I mean, they're not like say new. They're like maybe a couple years old at this point. I mean, Forsaken was like what 2017, 2018, I want to say.
Well, the game came out in 2017, so
Okay, 2017. So I'm thinking about
like
2018 or
by
2019.
2018, yeah.
Yeah, that's still fairly fresh and stuff. What I don't understand from this scenario, it's like, yeah, you're introducing a new expansion and people want to pay the expansion, but at the same time, getting rid of content not only players have paid for, but yet if new players going in that don't know like a lot of this main story, like a lot of the lore or a lot of the things of why you want to do this to begin with, a lot of it is going to be lost in and of itself because there are pieces missing. There are literally pieces that are missing, not only in terms of story modes, but in terms of missions that you may want to go forth and experience, but you no longer have that option because the main campaign stuff, has been streamlined, to where, when you and I were playing Destiny 2, first starting off with back then, it was entirely different in terms of its campaign and in terms of like its DLC, like infrastructure stuff, than say now, where players immediately go through. You can start a new character, and you could basically start like in certain aspects of the Destiny 2 campaign, but it'll throw you into like say like the newest expansion, the newest things like that, and you have to progressively chip away at certain things. But the main crux of this game you're playing, Destiny 2, is basically doing weekly content stuff, like with Gambit, with Crucible, with the Vanguard stuff, with this and that. But basically, what I'm saying is, you compare, like, say, Destiny 2 with its expansion format and this and that to say like another style of game similar to this, which by similar I mean like the DLC and like the expansion structure, like say like a Final Fantasy 15, like 14, 15. No, no, Final Fantasy, I want to say
14.
14. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I meant. Where you have Final Fantasy 14, where hell, it's on sale right now here for like freaking the PlayStation store and stuff, where you can get like 25, maybe 24, $25 or something like that for all of the expansions, even though it's like a $15 a month like subscription because it's an MMO. But the fact remains is you get all that content and stuff, not having to, at a discount price or at the moment, right? But the core idea is you have all this content that you can go through and play through and enjoying different aspects of the story mode and stuff, leading up to their eventual expansion of like what they got going coming up. Whereas you have Destiny 2 taking away content, paid content with Forsaken, with this and that and stuff. It feels like less of a it actually feels like less of a deal the more you think about it. It feels more like a quick money grab in regards to Bungie, in regards, in regards to like the longtime players of Destiny 2, more or less. But even though I am saying this and stuff, I know a couple of my friends that are inside of a Destiny 2 clan that I'm in and stuff like that. They've already went full on in, paying $100 and stuff like that. It's more or less sort of like a cycle of abuse sort of thing inside of this core aspect and stuff. People love playing Destiny 2 to the extent where they feel like that it's a great deal to spend this $100, not knowing full well it's like they are pretty much getting minimized returns from this because that content is only good for like most of that content involves the seasons that come out, right? And so once that season's over after at least a couple of months or however long like Bungie has these seasons last for, though that content, a lot of those different perks, a lot of different things that you're using for like an artifact and stuff, that goes away and it changes, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
so
that's most live service games though, to be fair.
yeah, yeah, that's true too. But at the same time, you're paying $100 for a lot of content that you don't know what's going to be coming out. So it's like
Yeah, I mean,
it
it's
could
a leap of faith for
curious
sure.
quality. It's like a leap of faith type of thing. But
Yeah.
more or less, my stance on this in that regards and the whole controversy and stuff. It's like I understand why long time Destiny 2 players and stuff like that are looking at this. Okay, this is pretty much like a bad deal all around in regards to the whole not only hiding certain features and game modes behind specific packaging and stuff, forcing long-term players, if you want to get the best experience, get the $100 type of version in that regards. I also see it like from another perspective to where, hey, if you only play one or two games a year and Destiny 2 happens to be one of it, I mean, one, then that's not going to be that big of like a loss for you because you don't
Yeah.
care. You're just going to go through and play what you're going to go through and enjoy. For myself, I'm like, I don't know. I'm really questioning it, because it's
Yeah,
like I don't want to spend $100 on Destiny 2. No,
yeah.
no.
No,
I mean,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish up.
like I was saying, I don't want to spend $100 on this expansion and then like play it maybe off and on while I'm playing everything else under the sun, because it feels like to me that Destiny 2, even though it is damn fun, I do play with certain friends and stuff like that. God, it could sometimes be a gigantic waste of time because I could just use that for like other games that I have that I could
Yeah,
play and enjoy and finish up a couple backlogs.
yeah. No, I get that, but yeah, I mean, it's like I get where you're coming from, but it's like I feel like it's kind of like when we bought, you know, I bought a PS5 at launch, and it's like I'm
Yeah,
buying the PS5 when it's at its most expensive, and probably it's worst manufacturer. You know, like we're paying the most money to get it early and basically be test dummies. And that's the thing with like most things. You buy the
well, yeah,
earliest version, or you like, or if you're the harder, like it's always the hardest core fans are the ones that usually pay the most and financially and in testing shit out. It's like I used to spend the extra uh, up until this year. Uh, Madden would be like it's $80 if you want to play it 3 days early, and the difference would be like, well, I can either play it on Tuesday or I can pay an extra $20, play it on Friday, and then I can play it all
right,
weekend. So it's like, well, fuck it. That was super smart of them to do that. It's like even like Forza Horizon 5 did the same thing. You could buy the if you don't want to if you're buying it, it's $60. You can play on Tuesday, or you can pay. I think it's 100. You could get it. You can play it on Friday. Since people have been playing it since Friday, or you could just be like us and use the best deal in gaming, Game Pass, and play it there for just $14.99 a month with Ultimate, or $9.99 a month if you
right.
just want to play regular Game Pass. I'm done shilling until they start paying me. Um, but anyways, it's like it's just even though like I pay I pay the extra money, the $20 extra dollars to play Madden 3 days early. It was always at its worst right there because the day one patch usually didn't come out until Monday night. So
Right.
like there's buggy, it's broke, like not broken, but it was very buggy and doing bullshit. And it's like it's just kind of how it is. I mean, this is different because it's like I don't think that's gonna be the case. Like it sounds like you're saying here, you're basically paying for the next 4 seasons, which you're. I think if you're someone that you know for a fact, it's one of those things. It's case by case basis. If you know for a fact you're gonna be paying for that, like so what? It's $30 for the base one.
Yep.
So really think about it, so you're paying $30 for the base thing. You're just basically giving them that $40 you're already going to give them ahead of time. You're just giving it to them now,
Right.
which I
Right.
can get the way I am like about like I pre-order games like when I have extra money, like now, if I have a game if like a game I can pre-order now, doesn't come out say till February, and but I have the extra cash now. I'll just pre-order it now. That way, like case like Horizon that comes out February 18th. I had that pre-ordered on
Yeah.
PS5. I pre-ordered when I have the extra cash. It's like because I know right now I have the cash for it. In 4 months, I might have the cash for it. So it's like, and then if that money I had extra, a couple weeks ago, probably would have blown that on something stupid. So it's like at least that's
All right.
that's kind of what like I don't know. Maybe that's the way I am about shit. Like I've like basically every game I want to play is I have pre-ordered out. Like all these games I've been playing this holiday and this like fall, I pre-ordered fucking months ago. E3 before even some of these before that because delays obviously. But I don't know. I mean, like I'm not saying like you're not wrong the way you feel you are, but I think it's definitely like case by case. It's like if you're hardcore
Yes.
enough fan, like Gables, you play this game almost weekly. I know like lately, obviously they're like everything got delayed, COVID fucked everything up, so the season's been expanded. But I mean, like if you're someone playing it, I can see like I it's even like you said, like this is your game, like yeah, like that was my idea of thinking. It was like, oh, I'm like, if all the games like with Madden for me, it's like, like there's a lot of games I play through and it's like I beat them in 5 hours or 6 hours. I played through it once and I like played through it in a weekend and I never touched it again. I spent $60 on this thing. Cause I had a great time. I'm not saying it wasn't worth it, but it's like for me, it's like Madden. I put like 150 to 200 hours in. Some of them
Right.
not
Right.
that's now, but like 4 or 5 years ago, I was putting 300-400 hours into them. If there's ever a game I was getting my money's worth out of, it's this. So dropping the extra $20 to get it 3 days earlier and have 3 more days to play it, like yeah, it's like no question for me. Like when it went to 100, I'm like, no, that you're at. No, I'm not doing that. I'll wait. I'll save the $30 and um just play it on Tuesday. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like I said, it's case by case. I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just definitely like I could see like I completely understand where you're coming from. Like I felt that this like as I said like I felt like this year when Madden when they finally jumped up the price like at a point in time it's like no I'm gonna put my foot down on this one. I'm not paying the extra You went from you bumped the game up $10 from 60 to 70, which totally fine with. That's games prices go up and everything. Not our paychecks, but everything else. Um, and but it's like going from 80 to 20 or from 80 to 100. Like no, because now you're talking 70, going from 70 to 100. That's way too rich for me for an extra. I'm not paying $10 a day. Um, but yeah, I mean, I totally respect that. Like I said, I had the same crossroads a few months ago, and now you're here at that. And it's like, but I feel like I wouldn't. For you, I feel like you're probably, if you did do it, and obviously I don't know about your financial situation is not. Who am I to tell you what to spend your money on? But I
Mm.
would say like I don't know if like you have your friends play with, and I wouldn't be surprised when they find that new content drops. You're just right back into it, and it's like it's just one of those things like right
Right,
now
right.
when like the last couple months because you'll tell me like your updates and like your friends want to play. It's just like we're just creating our own fun. Like there's just nothing to do. And it's like it's easy to feel that way right now when like spirits are low on that. But I wouldn't be shocked though like that new content drops and you're just right fucking back into it.
Right, I can understand what you're saying with that regards and stuff like that. But like I was saying and stuff, I was not interested in like getting like the $100 version with everything else and stuff. But at the same time, I'm looking at how I played Destiny 2 was like more or less just try to do like the weekly stuff. Sometimes it's do like specific missions and whatsoever. I mean, right now I'm kind of pretty much burnt out and
Yeah,
stuff. Maybe one day a week I want to play Destiny 2 or something because of the current season, this and that. But come February or something like that, mate, I probably am gonna get like the main expansion thing, which is like the base version of it, because I don't give a shit if I'm going to like pay like $10 at a time per season. I think I'd much rather do it that way because it's like, it's kind of how I did it before with other expansions, where it's like I pay for like just the mainline expansion, then invest inside the season pass whenever I have like the $10 or whatsoever. But yeah, it's like what you were saying before. It is a case by case basis for people. I mean, they do have their own choice of whether or not they want to go forth and expand, or just spend the money and go through do that. But
yeah.
yeah, just getting the base understanding and stuff of like what the DLC is and what the people like, what fans like from the different perspectives and stuff, longtime fans and people are kind of disgruntled and stuff, what they think about just the whole Witch Queen stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, like I feel like right now, like probably Destiny fans are like spirits are at their lowest right now.
Yep.
Just probably since like the launch, really. Like, and I think yeah, like I think once they get back on, you know, on the swing of things, I think a lot of people will be happy again. But I can understand like where they're at with that. But we need to move on here, Gables, to some
Yep.
other news here. Let's talk about some fun Nintendo financials.
Okay.
Some crazy updates here. So some of the things we've learned now is that the Switch is now sold 92.87 million copies, units, I guess, if you want to call it
Units.
that.
Yes.
So they sold that many, which is funny. I was reading, see some of the facts here. I'm pulling up some of the stuff on my phone because I don't want to over stress out my computer more than it already is. Um, I thought it was kind of funny though. I was reading some of the stuff on this, and the Switch itself has, like I said, 92.7 million. How many games combined do you think the um, Switch sold, or the Wii U sold? How many units of games?
How many units of games that the Wii U sold?
Yeah, like
Okay.
combined over all the eShop games, all the digital games, all the physical games.
All right. So I'm trying to think of this beforehand because
Right
I
now, the
know
Switch is at 673 million copies of games sold.
673 million.
That's where the
Wow.
Switch is at.
That's where the
Uh,
Switch is at. Okay, when I'm thinking
yeah.
of Wii U here, I'm thinking about I'm trying to keep in mind the actual units that sold for the Wii U, which is like 13 point something million.
Mhm.
But I want to say, God, I don't even think that was like nearly half that. I think it was like maybe 100 million possibly for Wii U. I'm trying to think because the attach rate was like 6 to 8 games or something like that per person that went through and did that. So that may be even more. Okay, you said for the Switch's game unit stuff, it was like 600 million or something of that
600
sort.
like 73 ish.
673 million. So I'm going to go forth and actually, I'm going to increase it now that I think about it. It's going to be maybe half that here. I'm going to say 300 million.
Gables, you were close first time. 103 million units of software. So
103
the
units. Okay.
so the Switch has almost sold as many unit. The Switch console itself has sold almost as many as the Wii U sold games combined,
Wow,
which is
that's
nuts to
crazy.
think. The fact that that we're gonna surpass that is incredible to me. I thought that's it's just absolutely. Obviously, there's way more. I shouldn't say that. There were so many shitty Wii U eShop games that are out there for a penny, but
Yep,
yeah, I just thought that was funny when I read that. So it's pretty crazy. It is kind of crazy when we think about that actually. Like the attach rate on the Wii U was better than the Switch.
yep,
Really, you break that math down, like it was, yeah, like it was like eight. So like for every Wii U sold, the average person bought like 8, 9 copies. The Switch, it sounds like about 6, 7 million, 7ish, probably around there. So a little lower, but I guess like the Wii U was mostly hardcore Nintendo's.
yep,
So, but some other cool stuff here. This the Switch though is obviously getting pretty close to, and this is actually pre OLED. This all ended on September 30th. The OLED came out the week after, so when we get to when we hear about the next quarters, we'll know more about that. They did drop the expectations for Switches sold this year by
yeah,
like I think it's like a 1.5 million less than what they expected. Chip shortage, obviously everything's being affected by that, but still selling at a crazy rate. These are currently the new updated sales figures for the top 10 selling Switch games. Gables, you want
yeah.
you want to give me a guess here? Give me a guess here. How many copies did Ring Fit Adventure sell? And I want to let you know right now, it's over 10 million.
It's over 10 million. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna say in regards to like Ring Fit Adventures for the Switch, it probably sold like about I want to say 30 million.
Ring Fit Adventure?
Oh, for
No, no. There's only two. There's only two games that have sold over 30 million.
oh,
Ring Fit Ring Fit Adventure is sold. So no, okay. Ring Fit Adventure is sold 12.21 million, which is
okay,
nuts, Gables,
okay,
because pre-COVID it barely sold over a million.
really, damn,
Yeah, well, remember because like that game went from like no one bought it to COVID hit,
yeah.
and then like people were buying it for like $300, $400 on eBay.
Oh, that's right.
I remember
Everything
like there
else
was
is
that
going
one
crazy with
NPD.
that.
There's that one NPD we did when it went from like 674th to like fifth 1 month because it went for everybody was buying it because they needed something to do the workout.
Yes, you're
Uh,
correct. I was misinterpreting something, obviously, but damn, yeah, that's crazy how it went from that all of a sudden over 10, like 12
yeah,
million.
yeah. If like oh god, man, like if anybody's made more money during the pandemic, it's I don't know who because Nintendo was selling crazy. If there's a cardboard shortage, the fucking Labo thing's gonna blow the fuck up. Um, Splatoon 2 is at 12.68 million.
Wow,
The Pokemon Let's Go games are at 13.3. I'm kind of shocked by how
that's no
low that is.
surprise.
Yeah, Super Mario Party at 16.48. Curious how
Okay,
it's going to go now with the new one just coming out. Sword and Shield, or I'm sorry, I skipped one here. Mario Odyssey at 21.95. Sword and Shield, it's not really fair because it's two games. 22.64. Breath of the Wild 24.13. So it's now officially the second best selling Zelda game ever behind Twilight Princess.
okay,
But that was the Wii launch game, so I think that's around 30ish million. Um, Smash Brothers passed the 25 million seller mark at 25.7. Animal Crossing at 34.95, and Mario Kart
wow,
Deluxe officially is the best selling Mario Kart game ever, passing the Mario Kart Wii, which was like 36 ish
right.
million to 38.74. To be fair though, that only includes the copies sold on the Switch. If you include the Wii U version plus that, it's like 42, 43 million. Um, so pretty incredible numbers there. I want to pull this up here, Gables. I thought this kind of interesting here. I I never seen anybody else do this before. I think it was VentureBeat did this one, and I want to shout them on that because I like this a lot. They actually broke down uh, how a lot of games sold. So 14 games sold over a million copies in the
Yes,
last quarter. So
wow,
from was it July? Oh yeah, from July 1st to September 30th, 14 Switch games sold over a million units.
that's
New
insane.
Super Mario Brothers Wii U sold was just over a million. Mario Odyssey sold 1.12 million. Miitopia, fuck you guys for keep buying this game. Sold 1.37 million. That game is like sold like probably close to 3 million units at this point. It's pissing me off. Pokemon Sword and Shield 1.54. Super Mario Party 1.86. Breath of the Wild 1.85. Mario 3D World 1.86. Smash Bros. Ultimate 1.86 as well. Mario Golf Super Rush 1.94. Ring Fit Adventure 2.1 million. Even with things kind of opening up semi, still selling well. New Pokemon Snap 2.19 million. Animal Crossing 2.22 million. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe 3.34 million. Skyward Sword 3.6 million, and this blew my mind, Gables, when I said this. The Skyward Sword version for Switch has sold more units already than the Wii version did, which is nuts because that was on a console that when it came out was on a console that already had like 120 million
Yep,
consoles out there in the world. So that
absolutely.
just, I mean, I know a lot of people, and I'm not even trying to bag on the Wii, even though I didn't like it. I knew a lot of people were kind of out on the Wii by that point, but like it stuns me that like the attach rate for that is crazy. When I just said Twilight Princess, I think is like the high 20s million. And that was a launch game, and like Mario, like you look at like you can actually look up the top 10 selling games on the Wii, and it's like nuts. Like those games were like in the 20s to millions. Um, Even like actually like Smash Brothers Brawl did only actually did like 14 million. So it's like I think Ultimate's actually almost doubling the best selling uh, copy ever they've ever made. Yeah, it's nuts the sales they're doing here. It's like like I think the vibes are down for me on the Switch. I think for some people too. It's not just me, but it's like they're doing better than ever. Still, despite everything else, as soon as they put them out there, they're selling. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on these numbers?
I think those numbers are pretty insane to think about, but at the same time, it's not too surprising because of how well the Switch has sold in general over the past year and a half. But still, seeing 14 Nintendo games on the Switch sell for over a million each is just
In three
insane.
months, yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
is insane.
They have like, I mean, credit dues. They have had like quietly. It's like some like much like everything else this year. Like they're not having like top tier games come out, but I think they've had a lot of very solid games come out this year. And a lot of them are like Wii U ports, stuff like that. But it's like they're selling, they're doing really well. Like and they're not like there are a lot of sevens and eights in there, but and people are buying them. And also Metopia. What the fuck is wrong with people? Quit buying that game. Stop doing this, please. Don't do this to me. Um, you're gonna keep making more of it. I don't want that. Moving on here too, I think will be our last topic, Gables.
Okay,
Um, we have this Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 have officially been delayed, which is weird because they never actually had a release date to begin with. Uh,
right.
so there's a lot. So it's been kind of like I didn't like for me personally. I like we enjoy playing Overwatch with, like friends and like there's a time and place for it there and then going back to it playing with people. But obviously these two IPs have huge fan bases. And it's crazy kind of just listening to like just kind of like not like the angry super fanboyish, but like real like people like giving their like a real solid point of view, like not like they're upset, but they're not like rage, like whatever, flipping the fuck out, fuck you, and like they're playing Overwatch again, but like people having like a smart conversation about it with Overwatch. And that was nuts. Like someone was saying that in 2019 when they announced this at BlitzCon at the end of 2019. In 2019, Overwatch was like one of the probably five biggest games out there going. Like
Yep.
they have the league, the Overwatch league going. They were actually doing like touring and they were the most probably one of the most watched things on I couldn't think Twitch. God, words are hard. People the fan base was hardcore. They were fucking buying loot boxes left and right, and they basically just stopped working and updating this game. Like around that, it's like really slowed it down, but then kind of almost like stopped it. Around that time when they announced Overwatch 2, they did the thing and like it was even playable at BlitzCon and people were talking about it and like a lot of people were like it sounded like that game was gonna be like a front half of 2020 game. Obviously, it's all pre-COVID, and then people were thinking, oh, this at the very least this will be like a launch title for the new consoles. And then COVID happened, they delayed it, whatever. But it's like they've like said like the most one of the most popular franchises currently running in gaming in 2018. They basically just stopped working on it to make this, which I understand. You make the sequel, you do this, but now both of these games, Diablo 4, Overwatch 2, are delayed now until at least 2023. So
Yep.
these fans are basically going 4 years. They basically just killed their baby that was generating tens and hundreds of millions of dollars to make the sequel, assuming it's coming out soon. And it's just been it's so weird. What's like this is all even pre everything that's gone on in the last few months with what's going on with them, the lawsuits and everything. That we've talked about that extensively. It's
Yep.
terrible. It's awful. It's happening. But it's like it's so crazy. Like how far like like I mean, Activision has its problems where they're just kind of turning into a Call of Duty factory, more so than ever before. But it's like Blizzard was like I don't like they're up there with like fucking Valve and like probably really I don't know
God.
like, probably Valve and them were like they're just like everybody respect if you even if you didn't love their games you respected them like
Right.
everything was
They're
quality.
like a triad of like gaming publishers or something like that that people trusted in regards to
Yeah.
like quality and knew that they were getting quality when they would do that. I mean, the triad that I'm thinking of is like obviously Blizzard being one, Bethesda being another, and like Valve being the third.
I don't know about Bethesda. I mean, I know people love them, respect them, but I don't know. Yeah, I can see what you're saying though. I think for the most part, maybe that's just my bias kicking in there. But yeah, it's like it's like it's nuts. Like everybody loved the Diablo 3, even though it did have a rough launch, and they fixed it. And it's great now. They got rid of the auction house and the online shit.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft was still killing it, and it's like now it's like the last like couple of years with them. It's like there was obviously the 2019 was also the year where they had the everybody when the guy asked them if this was a April Fool's joke in October when they revealed there was last minute they pulled the Diablo 4 announcement to tell them about the Diablo Immortal free to play phone game, which is coming out early next year, I think. So that game, like also another game they announced over 2 years ago, still hasn't come out yet.
That's
Piss
better,
off
guys. Don't have
everybody.
phones.
Yeah. Um, so fuck yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, doesn't everybody have phones? Um, but it's just it's so wild. We're like, they did like the digital one the last year with BlizzCon. They canceled this year, but probably a good idea. I would say it's probably a good idea before all the shit going on. Like I said, the lawsuits, but yeah, it's just everything's at worse. Where it's like simultaneously like World of Warcraft fans are leaving in drove. Like it's still doing
Yep.
very well, but like the numbers have, but it's very well for I think if any other MMO can have those numbers, they would be living like kings. For them, it's very bad though. But people leaving in droves, people that are still playing are pissed. But like simultaneously, like the World of Warcraft developers hate the fans as well. So it's like
Yep.
this weird thing where just nobody likes each other. Overwatch is like I said, it's a dead game. Diablo 4, like we haven't really even seen too much about it. It's just really, like taking obviously all the shitty, really awful criminal acts those piece of shits have done there. I'm really happy that I think over like 40 people are gone now out of this, and there's still more to come, I'm sure. And it's not done. The lawsuit's still going on, but I hope they get those fuckers. But just sticking with the game side of things, um, it's just crazy how like just in the last 2 years, give or take, like the like the aura of Blizzard, where like you knew that game was coming out, it was gonna be quality. It had that. It was like the modern day Nintendo Seal quality, where like you knew that game was gonna come out. It was gonna be good. It's gonna be even like I said, even if it wasn't your bag, you would know that you would respect it for what it is. And you know it'd be a quality game. It's just like it's really
Right.
sad. Like obviously delays happen, shit happens. I'm not even like mad about delays because I don't even really care about playing these games. And I'm like I don't even think a lot of people are mad about. A lot of people like obviously I shouldn't say nobody's mad. There's the dumb people that don't understand. Don't like delays. But even the people are just like they're upset and frustrated. Like I said, like because they just stopped supporting this other thing that they're still playing. It's still making tons of money on, and people kept wanting to give them money, and they just kind of stopped doing it. And like basically, like a lot of people were saying, it's like all this content you're putting into Overwatch 2, you probably could have just put in over time into Overwatch. All these maps, all these new characters, all
Yep.
these all these new skins, everything like that. Like you could have just kept this like thing. People were like, because like there a lot of people were saying it's like people weren't like done playing Overwatch. It's like I
No.
understand you want to put out a new $60 box, people will go buy another one. But I don't know. I just thought it was kind of fascinating, like what you learn about like just going and listening to people's like I said, smart, articulate people having calm conversations about it, just breaking it down. Like it's very interesting. It's like it's not the Tyler rant that you might be used to hearing on this podcast, but I don't know. It was like what's I don't know. What's your kind of your thoughts on these delays and just overall like Blizzard at this point, the state of Blizzard?
Long story short, I'm not surprised at all because with everything that's going on financially and like legally over there at Activision Blizzard, it's Not a surprise to see these games delayed, but it was news to me to hear that from you in terms of like the whole Overwatch situation, to where they basically pulled the plug on that thing in order to try to move on to the next game as quickly as possible, even though how successful that was. And you're right, when it came to a lot of that content that they were preparing for Overwatch 2, they could have easily have inserted a lot of that stuff into the original Overwatch. Hell, games right now, they are pretty much doing just that. I mean, you could see a lot of the fighting games over the past couple of years and stuff, even with COVID and stuff like that, they've pretty much inserted like new characters, new content, new this and that and stuff. And even like mainstay games, like a Fortnite or an Apex and stuff, there's still new things and new features and new characters being introduced and stuff. There
Mm-hmm.
was no excuse for Activision Blizzard to really move away from that, pulling like pretty much like slaughtering the golden goose in that regards in order to try to get more money in that
Yeah,
regards from a different
and
like game.
I don't know. It's hard to blame them on one hand because it's like it's kind of like the issue where it's like, oh man, I really like the game, but it's like now it's like we were just talking about Predator earlier, where it's like the people who are playing that game now are the hardcore, and it's
Yep.
like so it's hard to get like after that game's been out for a while. It's like after a game's been out for so long, like the casuals like us and a lot of people like we play it for maybe a couple weeks, couple months, and we fall off. Maybe we'll jump in party nights, and that's about it. But like yeah, it's like I can get why you want to make a new one because you're gonna get a lot of new people, but you can get a lot of us back in. It's kind of like the issue with like Destiny. Like I beat Destiny 1. I actually really
Yep.
liked the main campaign Destiny 2. And I was actually kind of
Yep.
bummed when they announced they weren't making a Destiny 3. They're just gonna keep adding on, which I can understand. Like you get like you and a lot of people are super excited. And that's probably what they want. But it's like for me, it's like kind of like makes it hard for me to jump back in because there's like I
Yeah.
after years of all these content updates, all the lore, it's like I'm not gonna I tried last year to get back into it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And it's not just that. It's like a lot of the games too. But it's like it's hard to like after it's been out for a while. It's just like it's like it's kind of scary to like jump into some of this. So I can get why they're thinking it. And it's like you get like a lot of that back in, get build up a bigger audience, and like also on top of that, sell more copies, and make more money. I'm not even knocking them for that. I think honestly, I'd almost kind of prefer they did that. But it's just like there's a balance to it. It's just kind of sad that like that game was probably went from being probably a mid to second half 2020 game, a game that was going to be out when they announced it in 6 to 8 months to now it's going to be 4 years. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of curious how like I mean obviously it only takes one really awesome game from Blizzard to come back. Like we've seen this in like
True.
a lot of things. Like you just have one, you just gotta win, and we are very forgiving people. We can bitch at you and hate you for months, years, and you do one cool thing, one great thing, and it's like oh well, all is forgiven.
Yeah,
Um,
that's how fickle gamers are in
yeah, well,
general.
not just in general. Like I mean, just in general for like things where it's like, someone can like like a baseball player gets caught using steroids, and it's like we all like lambast him. Deservedly so. He gets run through the ringer, and then like he fucking hits a walk off home run, and it's like oh fucking everybody loves him again. We've seen that shit all the time. People love comeback stories, and this could be the case. Obviously they have a lot bigger issues than making bad games and business decisions
Yes.
going on with them. But I mean, who knows? I'm sure most people don't even know about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just thought that was kind of interesting listening to people talk about that. But Gables, unless
Hmm.
you have anything else to say, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this week.
I think we're good.
Yeah, it is very late. It is midnight my time. I am ready to get a great night's sleep. But if you guys enjoyed this, once again, thank you for listening and dealing with us being super extremely tired. Trying to put words together is very hard, especially on a podcast. Um, but if you guys enjoy this, please go to wherever you listen to your podcast, or Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all those places. 5 stars, review, leave a comment, write a review, like, subscribe, share. All those things are great. We really appreciate it if you do that for us. Retweets. Really sharing and retweets are probably the best thing you can do, but also reviews and thumbs ups are also really great because that will help us with the algorithm and maybe get make it easier for people to find us. But yeah, please do all that. But once again, thank you for listening. I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, have some fun out there, play some games, and most importantly of all, thank you for listening to another fun filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
And hey, Gables,
Yep.
let's go take a nap.
Yeah, I feel like some sleep.
Mm-hmm. Bye, guys.
See ya.